Wake up, Carolina. Something massive is brewing in Charlotte, and I am not talking about a minor roster tweak. We are talking about a fundamental shift in the franchise's trajectory. Sources are buzzing, the phone lines are heating up, and the Panthers are positioning themselves for a blockbuster offseason that could completely redefine the NFC South. We have reports of offensive juggernauts potentially landing in Carolina, and a defensive homecoming that could turn this pass rush into a nightmare for opponents. The front office is aggressive, the stakes are at an all-time high, and you need to hear every detail of what is about to go down. But before we break this wide open, I have a request. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I need you in this huddle. Do not just listen, join the team, smash that subscribe button right now, and help us hit our goal. We begin with the story that has the potential to shatter the landscape of the entire National Football League, and it centers right here on the Carolina Panthers. Let's look at the facts coming out of Miami. The Dolphins are entering a phase that many insiders are calling a financial cleansing or a soft rebuild. When a team decides to clean house, no asset is safe, not even a superstar of Tyreek Hill's caliber. The murmurs are getting louder that Carolina is monitoring this situation with extreme intensity. Why? Because you have a young quarterback in Bryce Young who has been fighting for his life in the pocket without a true, elite, game-breaking weapon on the outside. From a football operations standpoint, inquiring about Tyreek Hill is due diligence, but for the Panthers, it is a necessity. Now, let me switch gears and talk to you about what this really means. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot expect a young quarterback to develop into a franchise cornerstone when he is throwing into tight windows every single down. You look at what Tyreek Hill brings to the table. We are talking about the cheetah. We are talking about speed that kills, speed that terrifies defensive coordinators before they even get off the bus. If the Miami Dolphins are foolish enough to put this man on the trade block, the Carolina Panthers need to be the first, second, and third caller on that line. You want to talk about opening up the field? You put Tyreek Hill on one side and suddenly the safeties have to back up 20 yards. That opens up the run game, that opens up the intermediate routes, that changes the entire geometry of the offense. Critics will talk about the salary cap. They will talk about the draft capital required to make a move like this. To them, I say, what is the price of mediocrity? What is the cost of ruining a quarterback prospect because you were too scared to push your chips into the middle of the table? This is the National Football League. You play to win the game. If Dan Morgan and this front office are serious about changing the culture, you don't do it with safe signings. You do it by bringing in a guy who commands a double team the moment he steps out of the locker room. Tyreek Hill in a Panthers uniform isn't just a trade, it is a declaration of war on the rest of the NFC South. It sends a message to the locker room that we are done losing. It sends a message to Bryce Young that help is not just on the way, but help has arrived in the form of a future Hall of Famer. This is the type of aggressive maneuver that separates the contenders from the pretenders.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get these exclusive insights before anyone else, you know what to do. Join our community of die-hard fans. Click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking update.
While the offensive fireworks are dominating the headlines, there is a silent but deadly strategy unfolding on the defensive side of the ball. My sources indicate that the Carolina Panthers have been identified as the principal destination for a veteran pass rusher, a specialist who has accumulated 48 sacks over his career. This is not a random rumor. This is a calculated identification of a massive roster deficiency. The Panthers front office knows that in the modern NFL, if you cannot pressure the quarterback with 4 rushers, you are destined to fail. This specific target, with nearly 50 career sacks, represents exactly the kind of proven production and veteran leadership that this young defensive unit is starving for right now. Let's analyze the tactical fit here. The new defensive scheme being implemented in Carolina demands aggression. It relies on edge rushers winning their one-on-one matchups without needing to manufacture pressure through exotic blitz packages constantly. When you bring in a guy with 48 sacks on his resume, you are not just bringing in stats, you are bringing in a technician. You are bringing in a guy who knows how to use his hands, who understands leverage, and who can teach the younger guys in the room how to be professionals. This is about raising the floor of the entire unit. We have seen the Panthers struggle to close out games because they couldn't get the opposing quarterback on the ground in critical third down situations. This move addresses that specific flaw directly. I look at this potential acquisition and I see a front office that is finally being honest with itself. They are admitting that the current rotation is not good enough to compete at a high level, and that is a good thing. Admitting you have a problem is the first step to fixing it. This sack specialist would come in and immediately command respect from opposing offensive tackles. He provides a safety blanket for the secondary because the ball is coming out faster. It is a symbiotic relationship. A better pass rush means better coverage, and better coverage means more sacks. It is the circle of defensive life in the NFL. Furthermore, this signals that Carolina is trying to win in the trenches. You can have all the speed in the world on the outside, but football is still a game of violence and physicality played at the line of scrimmage. Adding a verified quarterback hunter changes the demeanor of your team. It gives you an edge. It gives you a closer. This 48-sack specialist is the missing piece that connects the front line to the backfield, and if Carolina pulls the trigger on this, they are instantly a more dangerous team on Sundays. This is about credibility. This is about stopping the run on the way to the quarterback. This is about changing the narrative.
Now, we escalate this conversation to a specific name that should send shivers down the spines of NFC South quarterbacks. We are talking about Bradley Chubb. Following his release, Chubb has emerged as the absolute ideal option to reinforce the Carolina Panthers' edge. This is not just a free agent signing. This is a potential homecoming. Chubb, an NC State legend, knows this area. He knows the culture, and he has the pedigree of a top-tier pass rusher. When you look at the domino effect of the previous stories, the desire for a sack specialist, the aggressive roster overhaul, Bradley Chubb fits this puzzle perfectly. He is the physical embodiment of the violence and disruption this defense needs to reclaim its respectability. However, let's address the elephant in the room with the intensity it deserves. Bradley Chubb has been cut. Why? Because of injuries. It is a risk. I understand that. But let me tell you something right now. Fortune favors the bold. When Bradley Chubb is healthy, when he is on the field, he is a wrecking ball. We are talking about a Pro Bowl talent who can dominate a game single-handedly. The Panthers are in a position where they have to take calculated risks on high-ceiling talent. You can sign a safe, average player who will give you average results, or you can swing for the fences and bring in a guy who can be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate if his body holds up. Imagine the narrative. The local hero returns to Carolina to lead the franchise back to glory. He doesn't just bring sacks, he brings an attitude. He assumes the role of the alpha dog in that locker room. He looks at the younger guys and shows them what it takes to be a star in this league. The Panthers need that voice. They need that swagger. And financially, getting a player of Chubb's caliber after he has been cut means you are likely getting him at a discount compared to his peak market value. It is a low-risk, high-reward scenario that a smart GM makes 10 times out of 10. If you pair Bradley Chubb with the interior pressure and the potential addition of other specialists we discussed, suddenly Carolina's defense goes from a liability to a strength. It changes how opposing coaches game plan against you. They have to account for Chubb on every snap. They have to slide protection. That frees up everyone else. This is the move that signifies the Panthers are done being the doormat of the division. They are building a defense that will hit you in the mouth for 60 minutes. Bradley Chubb to the Panthers isn't just a rumor. It is the perfect marriage of need, talent, and opportunity. This is the spark that lights the fire.
This is a decisive moment in Panthers history. We are looking at a potential trifecta: an offensive superstar in Tyreek Hill, a veteran sack specialist to stabilize the line, and the explosive homecoming of Bradley Chubb. If the front office executes even 2 of these 3 moves, we are looking at a completely different team come September. But I want to know what you think. Is Bradley Chubb worth the injury risk? And should they go all in for Tyreek Hill? Drop your comments below. I read every single one of them. Let's debate this. And remember, we are building something special here. Subscribe, like the video, and let's get to 1,000 strong. Until next time, keep pounding.